Hi, this is Lynne Jacob, founder of MLJ Coaching International and business advisor to the construction industry. I'm down here in Panama at the Canadian Construction Association's annual conference. I was just at a fabulous presentation with 3 different people. One of them being Peter Hall, Chief Economist for Export Development Canada, and the second one was Mark Casaletto, the VP and General Manager of Reed Construction Data. And then the third person is a local entrepreneur from right down here. I believe he's the fellow who put together this gorgeous building that we're in on Playa Bonita. It's a Westin hotel. He owns 8 different hotels. But what I want to talk about today is the message that came from all 3 of these people. That's the same message that I'm trying to get across to every person, every organization, every business in the construction industry that I'm connected with. So as a business coach, I work primarily with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses, so up to $50 million a year in sales. The thing is that the larger a company becomes, so if you've got $500,000 a year in sales, you're growing, but your biggest concern is not so much people. Your biggest concern is probably money, right? Now, I'm working primarily with larger businesses than that, and their biggest challenge is the people. And as soon as someone's talking to me and they tell me that that's what their challenge is, that tells me that their business is growing and it's kind of caught up in the teenage stage of a business. It's no longer a child where you're in full control of it like a parent. It's in the teenage stage, and who's in control of a teenager, right? So the message here, though, is that if people is your challenge, I want to share with you what Peter and Mark and Herman Bern had to share in their presentations today. So number 1, Peter Hall is telling us that the economy, the global economy, is so strong. It's absolutely fabulous. Good news. And it's going to be for a long time. And Canada's going to have a very strong economy until 2025 they're looking at. So that's great news. Mark Casaletto was saying the same thing, and his thing was about the infrastructure in Canada. I mean, gosh, look what happened in Toronto. And not only did they have a flood in the summertime, just a number of months ago, but then they had the ice storm just a number of weeks ago. And he's talking about the infrastructure. His 2 messages about the infrastructure are, number 1, we need more to deal with, serve the people we have in Canada. Also, we need improved infrastructure. We have an infrastructure that is not looked up to by many countries. We're pretty low on the totem pole when it comes to that. So it's an aging infrastructure. We need to get that repaired. But the biggest message from all of them, including Mr. Bern from down here in Panama, is people. It's hard to find good, skilled labor these days. Now, I've been saying for years, and in fact, just a couple of months ago at a dinner meeting for the Moncton Home Builders Association, because I live near Moncton, New Brunswick, that people were complaining about that around the table. It's hard to find, good, skilled people. Well, if we were to drop the skill and look for good people, we can train them. And this is something that Herman Bern was talking about. And he said, our biggest problem is finding good people. Sure, we'd like them to be skilled, but when we find good people, we can train them. And that's my message. That's totally my message. It was so wonderful for me to hear these 3 leaders talking about the same thing. So in summary, talking about this message, not everything else, Peter Hall said about labor, love them or lose them. And I love that because that's exactly what I'm always talking about. It's a different generation that we have out there. Yes, the generation that we're accustomed to at our age, they're not who we want working for us because these people are nearing retirement if they're employees. So we want younger people working with us, working for us, and it's more about working with us these days than working for us anymore. It's a new generation. So that was Peter Hall's message, love them or lose them. Mark actually said the biggest threat to this fabulous forecast that they were talking about is labor. And as I said, Mr. Bern, Herman Bern, said that their biggest challenge is getting good people. And he actually went on to explain about how they have created their own schools, if you will, different type of schools, but they've created their own schools for training the people they need to work in the hotels they're building and to build the hotels that they're building. So they have all kinds of training for their employees. So again, to take it back to Peter's words, I loved it. In summary, when it comes to labor, love them or lose them. So there's a powerful message, and if you're in that stage, the teenage stage with your business, or maybe you're even in the adult stage, labor is something that you really want to focus on. And it's about finding good people. Hire for attitude is my training. Hire for attitude. Certain amount of aptitude, because yes, they have to be able to learn. Most people on the planet can learn, but they have to want to learn. And that's the message that I have for you, is hire for attitude and teach them, and get started now, because it's going to be really serious, a really serious crunch with the numbers available. And Mr. Bern even talked about unemployable. He even used that word, and I love that word, because there are people who do not want to work. And that's another challenge. Why is it? How is it that they became so unplugged from society that they don't want to work? However, that's a topic of another day. For today, remember, love them or lose them. This is Lynne Jacob, founder of MLJ Coaching International and business advisor to the construction industry. Gosh, how I love these words.